I don't know anything about the notice board. I'll just wrap my hand on it, that's all.
So you admit that it was the board you wiped your bloody hand on?
I admit it. What's to admit? It's there as plain as day for all to see. A smashing print on my right hand.
Perhaps you wanted to hide that handprint, so you righted the notice board and pushed it into the corner, did you?
No, imagine the weight of that great lump. Do I look like a powerful and well-nurtured man?
Well, did you see anybody else moving the board?
I've got nerves of steel, I can tell you, but even I have my limits. There was a body on the floor in front of me, and the Grim Reaper himself standing over it. And there was precious little light inside either. My bottom lip was all a quiver.
In other words, this witness is unable to give definite testimony on that point.
Yeah, so it would seem.
Well, don't look at me. I haven't got a clue about it. I was doing business with some second years at the time.
When you say you were doing business with them, you mean you were selling them fireworks?
Yeah, what else? There's the Priory School just round the corner, see? Those cheeky little so-and-sos have got a plan to blow up their school to Kingdom Come. So I've been telling on them, letting their teachers know what they're up to.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, I wouldn't want anyone to get hurt, so I let the school know the kids are playing with dodgy toys. Then, praise the Lord, the teachers take all the fireworks off them. And then, praise the Lord again, the kids all come back to me to buy more. Everyone's happy, see?
What a racket.
Course, and sometimes the teachers give me a little bonus to thank me for letting them know. It's a busy old life selling explosives.
Venus is a guileful goddess indeed.
Well, telling barefaced lies is kind of my thing, really. I'm ever so good at it.
Oh.
Excuse me.
Something wrong, Mr. Sandwich?
If I said it was, could we just leave it at that? Well, would that be the end of it?
No. Did Miss Venus's statement just now bring something to mind, perhaps?
Philosophical thoughts. Deep philosophical thoughts. Let's say there was a great liar, and that great liar said with that bend an eye, telling bare-faced lies is kind of my thing. I'm ever so good at it. Will those words of hers be a lie too? Or the truth? In which case, she's not a liar. Ooh. Oh, it's a hellish paradox, that one. Don't you think?
I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. But
It seems to me you're suggesting Miss Venus has been lying. Are you? What are you on about, old man? Trying to cause trouble, are ya? Keep on like that, and I'll wrap your whole body in firecrackers and set them off. That'll give you something to tremble about.
You have a startling disturbing mind behind that sweet and innocent face, young lady.
so, Miss Venus has lied in her testimony. Is that what you're saying, Mr. Sandwich?
Well, if it means I'll be burning in hellfire for the rest of my days, so be it. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Can you elaborate, please, sir?
Old blabbermouth here headed for the room where the gunshots seemed to come from. So there was someone else who crept up the stairs behind him, too. That's right. That rotten liar over there.
Hehe.
Do you mean to say that you did in fact betake yourself to the scene of the crime after all?
What did I tell you, eh? Oh, I said I was good at telling bare-faced lies, didn't I?
Yes, you mentioned it.
Well, that revelation rocked the whole courtroom, didn't it? Who knew firecrackers packed such a punch?
So you did indeed visit the scene of the crime, did you, the young lady? Good grief!
Well, now you come to mention it, I suppose perhaps I do clearly remember climbing the stairs to the room, yeah.
Either you clearly remember or you don't.
Well, I shall consider a fitting punishment for this perjurious act later. For the time being, you will immediately amend your testimony to reflect the truth.
Oh yes, my lord, of course. Maybe I did sneak along behind gossip and have a little peek into the room where it all happened.
You make a habit of lying, do you, Miss Venus?
Well, I suppose so. I don't really know, to be fair. If you want my advice, though, I'd take everything I say with a big pinch of salt.
Alright, but you did in fact go to the room where the victim was killed on the day in question, didn't you?
Oh, please, as if I would. I can't think of anything more terrifying.
The truth, please.
Well, alright, just a bit then. I mean, a girl my age is curious about stuff, you know.
Did you touch anything at the scene?
Oh, please, as if I would. I mean, there was a dead body on the floor.
The truth, please.
Well, alright, just a bit then. I had a look to see if there was anything I could sell. So I did give the place a once over, but it was nothing to write home about.
Right. Now, I hesitate to ask, but you didn't move the notice board by any chance, did you?
Oh, please, as if I would touch anything like that. Just a few bits of loose change is all I had.
The truth, please.
Well, alright then. I thought there might be something worth having underneath it. So I blasted the flippin' thing. Sorry, Oh. So I blasted the flippin' Sorry, flipped the blasted thing.
You're telling us that you did move that board?
Oh, I think that did slip out, didn't it?
What? You dashboard, Paul!
I don't believe it. The girl doesn't think.
So, did you find anything then? Something that you might have taken, perhaps? To sell?
Oh, please, I should be so lucky.
The truth now!
I might have found this old pocket watch under the notice board, I suppose. But a bit of junk like this can't be worth much if you ask. So it was you, was it? You're the one who took it?
Gina? Young lady, may I remind you where you are?
That watch there, that was a present to Inspector Gregson from the yard for a big case he solved 10 years ago.
The professor case, no doubt.
The boss used to warn it out every evening without fail when he was waiting for his grub to come at the pub.
I see.
I swiped it off of him once. I swiped it off him once, and blimey was he upset. He gave me a right earful. Said he hadn't missed a day in the last 10 years, polishing it and winding it. It meant the world to him. That watch did.
Possibly not the best thing to go diving for then.
It's not all that, though. I took it to Jabby's that night to ask how much it was worth, but the old dealer wouldn't touch it. Wouldn't give me a penny for it. Said it wasn't working. Knocked about and worthless, he called it. I knew I should have lifted it.
That watch must be submitted as evidence at once.
Oh, please. Just so long as you promise to give it back when we're done. Not a chance. I'll swipe it from you if you try to get your grubby mitts on it again.
That's enough. Hand the watch to the bailiff forthwith.
Now, children, watch your manners.
Good Lord! The glass appears to be broken.
More than likely it shattered when the inspector was shot.
It doesn't tick anymore either. Which is why Jabez didn't want it. What a waste, eh?
Yes, indeed. It appears to have stopped at the hour of 5.
Exactly when the gunshot was heard, then. Which supports the prosecution's claim, of course. No, it could have been destroyed when the board fell on it.
Well, it would appear that the mystery of the moving notice board has been solved at least.
And as predicted, it had very little bearing on the case.
Oh. Now then, continue with your cross-examination, please, Castle.
Ugh. Let's, The glass over the face really is badly cracked, look. What a shame when the inspector clearly looked after it so carefully. I imagine Mr. Sholmes could repair it, don't you? Yes, I should think so. He's very adept at things like this. A useful man to have around, in fact. But kindly remember that he's a great detective, Mr. Naruhodo, not an odd job man. There's a tiny little stub sticking out from the small hole here, look. I suppose there must have been a little knob or something on that for setting the time. In that case, seeing as we know the inspector took such good care of this watch, it probably broke when the incident occurred, didn't it? Yes, of course. Which could mean that there's a small part of the watch still at the scene, maybe. Yes. Oh. There's a tiny little keyhole here. Can you see? Oh yes, that's probably for the winder used to wind up the mechanism. It looks then a little unusual, don't you think? Yes, you'd need just the right key to wind it, I imagine. Why do I feel as though I've seen something a bit like a key that's about the right size to fit in this hole? It would be wonderful if we had the key. Let's check carefully over what we've already found. Oh, so it's really just a key then? Not a gun? It's totally a gun. Come on. The helmet of the charming policeman. There we go.
What's that?
It appears to be some sort of key, but it's tiny though. It couldn't be a key for a door, not at that size. So what is it for, I wonder? Yes, thank you. Mrs. Otto, do you think perhaps this key could be the key for Inspector Gregson's watch? Oh, yes, it could be. Let's try it at once. There's not a moment to lose. I knew it. A perfect fit. And look, the inspector's watch has started going again. Ah, so it has obviously just not been wound up, that's all. What is it, Mrs. Otto? Well, if the watch isn't actually broken after all, I have a feeling it could have profound implications. She's deep in thought now. Perhaps I'd better start thinking deeply too. Yeah, so probably what's happened was Gregson died long before 5 p.m. The watch was still ticking, but when the notice board fell on it, it broke, it stopped working. Or, it didn't stop working, it just needed to be wound up again. Oh, so that means... Oh, that's not good. It means that it stopped at 5, and it wasn't wound up. But Van Zieg's was found at 5, so there's not really a room for doubt, is there? Okay. Or whatever. Okay. Let's keep going.
I don't know anything about anything. I'm just a bystander, me. Just a sign at the crossroads of life.
But you did go to see what happened in the room, didn't you?
Fresno Street is my whole world. It's all I know. And I know all of it. I have to make it my business to know if I want to hold my sign up high.
So you did go to see what had happened.
It's not the destination that's important, it's how you get there, isn't it?
Did you notice the notice board in the room?
If you think about it, we're both the same species, aren't we? Both different members of the sign family. So if I spotted it, I might have tried to trip it up out of a sense of rivalry, I admit.
Someone really needs to tell you that you're Homo sapiens, not Homo signians. Homo sanians. Does that mean that you didn't notice the board?
I can only repeat what I said before. I don't know anything about anything. I'm just a bystander, me. Just a sign at the crossroads of life. In which case, just who was responsible for moving the notice board?
It was that Reaper, I bet. He's got a face that screams balls.
What exactly do you mean by that?
Oh, come on now, don't tell us you've not noticed. It looks like he hates everything in the world, that fella. But not notice boards, they're the one thing he likes. You can see it in his eyes.
I can't say I'd ever noticed.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing for free though. I never took my eyes off that man on the floor, or off the Reaper. Not for a second.
Sorry?
Well, I was that scared I couldn't. You never know what a fiend like that might do if you look away, do you?
If you didn't take your eyes off the defendant, you should be able to confirm categorically whether or not he was the one who moved the notice board.
That I can't. The Reaper did nothing of the sort. I can swear to that. I couldn't have missed it if he'd eaved the thing upright again and dragged it into the corner.
Right. Glad we've cleared that up. What happened to the face that screams bored? I feel your pain, Cosmo.
I can't see how this changes anything anyway. The detective still died when we heard the gunshot.
It was 5 o'clock in the afternoon that you all heard the loud bang, wasn't it?
Maybe the notice board fell over, or maybe it didn't. Maybe I fell over, or maybe I didn't. But the Reaper's fate is sealed out of the way. Because of that gunshot we all heard. So your fate's sealed too.
My fate? That's right. The defense is fated to lose, and the prosecution to win. In other words, it all hinges on that single gunshot. So if I could just find some problem with that part of the story, it may be possible to change all our fates.
Of course. None of that changes the fact that I heard what I heard, does it?
Not much to go on. As you pointed out, Mr. Naruhodo, there is no question that the notice board was moved, so somebody must have done it. But it did happen after the event, so maybe Kazuma is right and it's not relevant to the case. But it seems to have been deliberately positioned so as to hide the body from view. So I feel sure that there is some deeper significance to all of this. Yeah, I know what you mean. I have no doubt that there are more clues to be uncovered. You're on the right track, I can feel it. So follow your instincts. Alright then. Alright, so let's see. Huh. Let me try this. I'm afraid that's not necessarily the case.
Oh.
At the scene, we found this key to the winder of the inspector's pocket watch. A key? And having wound the pocket watch, we discovered that in fact it still works. You see, the watch didn't stop because it was broken at all. And that fact completely undermines one of the most fundamental premises on which this entire case has been built. What?
Order! 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 But Castle, the watch was stopped at almost exactly 5 o'clock.
Yeah, which is when we heard the gunshot.
It is exactly the hour.
The time that was showing on the watch tells us nothing other than when it was wound down. It's merely a coincidence that it happened to be at 5 o'clock.
Objection.
Even if that's true, the 3 witnesses here all heard the gunshot at 5 o'clock. So that's obviously when this crime was committed.
Objection.
No, that doesn't hold. Why not? Recall what Inspector Lestrade said only moments ago. The boss used to wind it up every evening without fail when he was waiting for his grub to come at the pub. Said he hadn't missed a day in the last 10 years, polishing it and winding it. It meant the world to him, that watch did. The victim was in the habit of winding his watch once a day, in the evening. We can reasonably assume, therefore, that he wound the timepiece on the evening before he died as well.
Yes, that would be entirely reasonable.
But if that's the case, you wouldn't expect the watch to have completely wound down by 5 o'clock the following day. Well, how do you explain it then? In summary, the evening before the day of the incident, when the gunshot rang out in that room, the inspector was already unable to wind his watch. You can't mean... What would stop a man winding his watch if he's been in the habit of winding it every single evening for 10 years? The obvious answer is that he was already dead.
Order! Order! Counsel, this is a most extraordinary claim.
Objection.
Extraordinary isn't the word, it's absurd. You claim he was already dead the night before? Do you really think that Scotland Yard's coroner would have overlooked something like that? Yes. There's no time of death. On that subject, there is something rather surprising. There's actually an omission in the coroner's report. The time of death is not noted. That's right.
Wait a minute, you forget that my legs were from me. Went from under me when I kicked the door in.
What do you mean?
Like I said, I planted my head in a dirty great puddle of blood.
Yes. So the victim's blood hadn't dried. It was fresh.
He catches on first, doesn't he?
Objection.
But that blood could be explained in any number of ways. It could have been put there afterwards. Some fresh blood could have been poured over the victim's body after it. Does my learned friend think that the fresh blood is available on every street corner? Well, it needn't necessarily have been human blood, of course. We have been told previously that Scotland Yard has no way to identify blood as human.
The problem is currently being researched. At present, you are correct. It is beyond our abilities.
So then, a chicken's blood could have been used, for example. It's certainly a possibility that it wasn't the inspector's blood at all.
Objection.
But the gunshot was heard at 5 o'clock that afternoon. That's beyond question. Is it, though? What? Given that the time of death of the victim has already been called into question, it isn't beyond the realms of possibility that what these witnesses heard wasn't a gunshot at all. Oh, please, what are you trying to say?
I just don't know what we heard, and it was a loud bang that came from out that room.
Now you listen to me. His streets are his ears are his livelihood.
I don't doubt your ears, sir, but all you can state with certainty is that you heard a noise.
Eh?
Explain yourself then, Kazu.
A noise that sounds like a gunshot could have been made with
Take that!
something like this. The culprit could have set off one of these to fake a gunshot.
Good gracious! The very fireworks that are sold by the witness?
Now hold on a minute, are you saying I did it? My pretty little firecrackers only make a little pop anyway. See? Not 100 of them together. The Venus special that you sell for 600 pennies sounds like this. As the court can now attest, it sounds very much like a gunshot, in fact. You're trying to suggest that somebody set one of those fireworks off at the scene? I'm suggesting that somebody knew the defendant was in the room at 5 that day, and sought to implicate him by creating a sound like a gunshot for these peddlers on Fresno Street to hear.
Objection!
But even the accused himself has testified that he saw no one else in the room at the time. Whether it was a gun or a firecracker, the only person present to cause that bang was Barak Van Zieks. One whiff of a match and my firecrackers go pop. See? It's why people like him.
I fear for your fingers, young lady.
Recently, during my time here in Britain, I have learned of a very useful invention indeed. Something called a time bomb.
Good heavens, a bomb?
Yes, a device that allows you to blow up whatever you like, whenever you like. Mr. Naruhodo, I worry that your unfortunate phrasing there may lead to yet another international incident. No, wait, it's the whenever you like part that's important. A timed device? Yes, exactly, a timed device. Something of that nature could have been planted at the scene. A device that was able to produce the sound of a gunshot long after the culprit had left.
Your extravagant claims will have to be substantiated with evidence, Counsel. What proof do you have to suggest in any way that a timed device was employed to create the gunshot sound?
Take that!
You're suggesting this could have been used as some sort of time delay device?
I did think so, my lord, but it's becoming increasingly clear that we've all been very misguided here.
Objection!
Yes, by you.
What? No, Counsel. The time has come for a penalty, without delay.
Oh, no time to clear the area before the blast.
Your extravagant claim will have to be substantiated with evidence, Counsel. What proof do you have to suggest in any way that a timed device was employed to create the gunshot sound?
The candle? I don't know. Maybe, yeah. Why not? Yeah, that could be the candle. As the court has already discussed, the tip of one of the candles in this candelabrum has been blown off.
Indeed, because it was struck by the bullet, which presumably passed through the victim.
I don't think that's possible, my lord. Not possible? Why? Because of the scorching. There are gunpowder scorch marks clearly visible on the broken candle.
There are? Goodness, yes! But is it not the case that there was also scorching on the victim around the bullet entry wound?
That's right, there was. But as we heard earlier, scorching like that only occurs when the target is at very close range, a matter of centimeters from the gun.
Ah!
Which means that the scorching on the candle can't be possibly the result of a gunshot. You're suggesting that it came from the fireworks.
How can that be, eh?
The fact that there is such visible scorching on the candle suggests that the fireworks must have been right next to it when they exploded. Or to put it another way, the candle and the firecrackers were joined together. The culprit somehow attached the firecrackers at a point part way down the candle. After the killer had left the scene, the candle slowly burned down along with the other two, until eventually it ignited the fuse of the firecrackers, generating a loud and that is how these three witnesses came to believe they'd heard a gunshot at 5 o'clock.
Well, what a plot. And this implies that the victim could have died earlier than we've been led to believe. The previous day, even.
Does older horses? All last night I saw the victim go in the building, remember?
I couldn't forget that flame-colored hair even if I wanted to.
The person you saw entering the building wasn't the victim at all. Consider this. Obviously, anybody can wear a wig, so the person that these witnesses saw entering the building 15 minutes before the incident occurred could easily have been someone else entirely wearing the red hairpiece.
Someone else? Do you mean to say...
It was the same person who contrived the firecracker trick. In other words, Inspector Gregson's killer. Oh, very impressive, Renosuke Naruhodo. Kazuma? I'm really quite amazed you've come this far. But after all, wasn't I the one who told you that you had all the makings of a great defense lawyer? I also noted the lack of time of death in this report, a stark omission. But as far as I'm concerned, this whole country's justice system leaves a lot to be desired.
Order! 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 Prosecutor Asogi! What on earth do you mean by that statement?
I hear that many of the leading members of Britain's judiciary are present to observe this trial today, so we cannot allow even the slightest doubt to be overlooked. The defense's assertion about the time of death based on the victim's stopwatch is just conjecture. But while the possibility exists that my learned friend may be correct, we have a duty to explore it.
Well, certainly, I would agree with you.
And what immediately comes to mind is, of course, what was Inspector Gregson doing and where did he go on the day before the incident? Do you know? The inspector always carried out his investigative work alone. His movements were treated as confidential within Scotland Yard.
Even within the yard?
However, considering the evidence we've been presented with so far, I'd say it's fairly apparent what case the man was pursuing. Wouldn't you, my learned friend? I do have a feeling about what case he might have been investigating. Yes, I agree. Surely. My lord, this believes it can explain to the court the case that was being investigated by Inspector Gregson at the time of his death.
Very well, counsel. Present your argument to the court. What evidence is suggestive of the case being investigated by the inspector on the day prior to the incident?
I believe this red hair piece points to the answer. But we might assume it was part of a disguise used to carry out an undercover investigation.
Surely not. Such a brightly colored hair piece would only serve to make the inspector more noticeable.
Yes, that's quite true. It would definitely have made him stand out in a crowd. Except, that is, in a crowd of gentlemen from the Red-Headed League.
The Red-Headed League?
So, you'd already worked it out.
What on earth is this all about? Is there such an extraordinary league of gentlemen?
The Red-Headed League is currently under investigation for a grand deception.
A deception of what nature, counsel?
They've been targeting red-headed men across all of London and tricking them out of small sums of money. 2 men were arrested for the misdemeanor only yesterday, in fact. My lord, the defense calls for those 2 men to be summoned at once.
2 redheads?
Inspector Gregson clearly infiltrated the Red-Headed League using this hairpiece, so it's very likely that he had direct contact with these criminals. And it's quite possible that such contact led to more serious events.
I concur that we cannot, in good conscience, leave this new avenue unexplored.
Well done, Mr. Naruhodo. Well, it's another possible line of inquiry for us at least.
The prosecution will make immediate arrangements for the charge men to appear. Bring these 2 Red-Headed League conspirators before me, Prosecutor Asogi.
At once, my lord.
Very good. We will have a 30-minute recess. Court is adjourned. To be continued.
2nd of November, 12:33 p.m. The Old Bailey, defendant's ante-chamber. Oh, there you are, Odo. What kept you, my dear fellow? Hello, Mr. Holmes. Gina? You sure about what you said in there? That the boss, actually died the day before? It's pretty hard to swallow. Yes. I was shocked by the revelation too, Gina.
As was I. Possibly more shocked than both of you.
It's not a competition, Mr. Holmes. But I was more shocked than all of you put together.
This is the autopsy report in question, is it?
Yes, it's strange that there's no time of death noted. I suppose there's a simple explanation, or perhaps it was a deliberate omission. Oh dear, if it was deliberate, it puts me in mind of the last case we worked on, Dr. Scythe, and Dr. Scythe. I know. Anyway, it seems that on the day before Lord Van Zeeks discovered his body, Inspector Gregson was investigating the Red-Headed League, so perhaps something happened with them. Come to think of it, you had trouble with those League men too, didn't you, Mr. Sholmes? You were taken in by their trick?
No. Naturally, I wasn't taken in, as you put it. My sleuth-hound interest was merely piqued slightly by the rare scent of a weekly £4 income.
And that scent masked the underlying scent of deception, I suppose. The 2 criminals in question are the pair we saw being arrested yesterday, aren't they? In Mr. Sholmes' suite, I mean.
That's right, Suze, and it was me what took him in. Thanks to a tip off by a good law-abiding citizen.
Indeed, yours truly.
So it's gonna be that pair on the witness stand next, is it? Something doesn't quite make sense to me, though. The day before Inspector Gregson was found, you hadn't had trouble with the Red-Headed League yet, had you? Why would the inspector have been investigating them?
Well, the likely explanation would be that Gregson's own sleuth-hound interest was piqued by the rare scent of a weekly £4 income.
Don't tar him with the same brush as you, Sholmes.
Yeah, well... Then there's the whole issue of Inspector Gregson being investigated by Lord Van Zeeks, for some reason. The Reaper, the Red-Headed League, Inspector Gregson, Lord Van Zeeks, and Kazuma. I feel as though he knew we'd arrive at this point somehow. Gosh, I think you're right. What's he really trying to achieve here today?
All the answers will soon be revealed. Observe the time, my dear fellow. This recess will be over very shortly.
Yes, you're right. Kazuma was determined that he should be the one to prosecute this trial, and he was determined that I should take the defense. Just what is it that he's hoping to make me see, I wonder? I get the feeling we're a long way from the end of this trial yet. Are you ready then, Mr. Sato? Yes. Whew.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. We resume the close court hearing of Barak Van Zieks, here present, who stands accused of murder. Now then, Prosecutor Sergey,
My lord?
have you summoned the witnesses as requested?
Yes, the two members of the Red-Headed League who plan and carry out the deception. They arrived not long ago from the local prison by police carriage.
Very good. Bailiff, usher the two men into the courtroom.
These two men are currently being held by the police on suspicion of attempted extortion. You may omit your occupations, but state your names now for the court.
I am Fabian de Rousseau, a descendant of the great de Rousseau family from Nice, on France. Oh, damn it! I want to do an Italian accent. Fine.
Let me try a French accent. Okay.
No, I already did that. I am Fabian de Rousseau, a descendant of the great de Rousseau family from Nice, en France. And my name is Peppino de Rossi. Oh, here's the Italian one. I am the third son of the great Familia de Rossi, the landowners from Napoli.
The two men first became acquainted at a boarding school for European nobility.
Those who graduate from Timsk are the future leaders of Europe. But, do you have any idea how boring it is to be born with noble blood? Alas, I make it my mission to get the better of the world by employing the little grey cells of my brain. That is all I am trying to do, huh?
So, that's the only reason for this whole grand deception you've been carrying out?
Oui, you could say that.
Not bad, eh? Yes, the grand ideas, but the petty plans. This strange combination is at the charm of the hilarious brothers. Hilarious brothers. See, couple?
Listen to me, Peppino. I have two signs to say to you.
Eh? Gee? Are you about to tell me one of your Gandhi anecdotes? Viva!
Firstly, I want you to stop calling me this capo. And secondly, we are not the hilarious brothers. This is serious business.
Chibolo! There it is. There it is. The couple's trump card. The furrowed brow. It is deep, capo. The furrow, the meaning of your words. The court has been led to believe that under the banner of the Red-Headed League, you have conspired to swindle money from unsuspecting members of the public. Is this true?
Oui, c'est ça.
And what exactly was the nature of this deception by which you planned to defraud?
Alors, I will explain it.
No, couple. Leave it to me. As you see, we both have the vivid red hair, no? At school, we were teased for this without pity. The couple here who was many times behind the schoolhouse, crying like at the Trevi fountain. Oui, those dogs, one day the world would respect as redheads. Every night he would bury his head in his pillow and weep.
C'est bien, Peppino, enough. I will explain the rest. The first step was the newspaper advertisement. About 1 week before the plan was put into operation, we listed the same notice in every paper in London.
Yes, we saw that notice. It was this one, I believe, entitled To the Red-Headed League.
Oui, c'est ça. I am honored that you have seen it.
It states that the only condition for joining the league is having flame-colored hair, and that if you satisfy the interview panel and are admitted into the league, you could receive a weekly income of £4. On the date specified, red-headed hopefuls gathered in droves at a park specified in the advertisement, and from each person present, this pair took an application fee of 5 shillings.
And with the money to France. It was a plan most elegant, non?
No, it was most dishonorable. But to be frank, I am stunned anybody was foolish enough to be taken in by such an obvious trick. The park was described by one witness as choked with red-headed folk like a coster's orange barrel. And the day on which all these men gathered to apply was the day before the victim was discovered. Crucially, these 2 men spoke face to face with every single person present that day.
Oui, I have seen more red-headed people in one day than I will see in the rest of my life. See, and now, every time I see the cowboy's hair, I feel sick to my stomach. Anyway, why have we been summoned here today?
Sorry?
The date for our trial was not until tomorrow, I was told.
Naturally, neither of these men have been told any details about the trial. They've only been shown this photograph.
Very good. So, Mr. De Rousseau and Mr. De Russie, you will now give your formal testimony for the court on the subject of the gentleman pictured in this photograph.
Of course, we are always ready to help with the law. We had more than 1,000 red-headed people assembled in the park on Lime Street that day.
But I don't recall the man in this photograph. Aye, Capo?
None, I don't remember him. Obviously he's dead now, but I assure you, he was not in the park.
Oh, Laura, this victim has nothing to do with us.
You have a lot to answer for, Peppino. It is your fault that we got in the first place.
You have given sworn testimony that this man in the photograph was not present. Can you be certain?
Oui, I am quite certain. We did not interview this man.
Nobody looking like this came to the park. This I can promise. It must be noted that you have been arrested for a grand deception, however. Accordingly, this court has little confidence in your assurances. Enfin, with this attitude, we get nowhere, huh?
He's really a sulking now. This confidential document was obtained directly from Scotland Yard. It records an entry from the inspector's private diary dated the day before the incident. It reads, Lime Street Red-Headed League undercover.
Ah, I have the answer. Maybe there was another similar event at the park on the day in question, eh?
That is ridiculous.
There's no question that Inspector Gregson was investigating the Red-Headed League, which means it's quite possible that's when he was killed.
Very well. The defense may proceed with the cross-examination now.
Yes, my lord.
We had more than 1,000 red people assembled in the park on Lime Street that day.
1,000 people? That's a very big crowd.
It was quite a spectacle. Redheads had come from all over the capital.
See, the couple here, he has the magnetismo animale, eh? Nobody else could attract so many people. If I could be born again, I would be the capo.
All those people wanted was the money, Peppino. The £4 per week.
Are you suggesting that you spoke personally with all 1,000 applicants?
Oui, that we did. Because every one of them paid us 5 shillings.
We take their names and we take their money. And we take their addresses as well. Then I tell them we take some days to let them know by a post E finito. Maybe 2 minutes a person. We start early in the morning and we stop late in the night.
So, you earned 5,000 shillings in one day? That's a small fortune.
You would have thought there were 1,000 such gullible redheads in London to start with.
One of whom was a great detective with chemically altered hair.
But I don't recall the man in this photograph, capo?
He doesn't look at all familiar?
No, I don't think so. And this is a wig, eh? He's trying to trick us. I do not like the people who are trying to trick the other people.
Says the con artist. If between them they interviewed 1,000 people with red hair, it would be unreasonable to expect them to remember every face.
No, senor. I may be small, but my memory is very large. I never forget a thing. In my opinion, I do not think this man was in the park.
But he's not going to give the court a definite, it seems.
Hey, capo, you didn't see a man like this, huh?
Starting Mexican now.
No, I don't remember him, and obviously he is dead now. But I assure you, he was not in the park.
But according to what you've said, you spoke with 1,000 or more people that day.
Oui, that's true. My eyes were burning by the end of the day.
Surely then you can't actually remember every single face. How are you so certain that this particular man wasn't present?
Normally the red hair is very distinctive, eh? But not when you have 1,000 redheads crowding around. Then it is just an eyesore. But if there was some other information you could give us, maybe then we would recall.
That is not the line, Peppino. Remember, we do not remember him. We are sure of that fact, huh? If there was a man with the red hairpiece, but his mustache did not match the car, then I do not think I could have forgotten him.
Cosmo said these two had only been shown that photograph and they had been told nothing else at all. But what if I fed them just one other detail about the victim? For example, I can certainly appreciate that just knowing the man had red hair wouldn't help you remember in the situation. What if I told you that the man's name was Gregson?
The man in the photograph is Monsieur Garçon.
Yes?
Names, they are boring. I did not listen to any of them.
Oh,
It was not a real interview, huh? It was just for a show. Why would I remember the names?
That's right. This changes nothing. The man in the photograph was not there, as we have already said.
I see.
It seems there's little to be gained from pursuing this point further.
Tell them again what you said before, Peppino.
Si, capo, si. I say it again and again. Allora, this victim is nothing to do with us.
Hold on. Let's try another tactic. Distinguishable information. I can certainly appreciate that just knowing the man had red hair wouldn't help you remember in the situation, but what if I told you that the man was always munching on a packet of fish and chips? Do you remember a man who was eating incessantly?
Not really. I was looking only at the heads of the applicants. I wouldn't have noticed the fish and chips any more than the caviar and smoked salmon.
Or spaghetti. Me, I love the spaghetti.
Really? I had no idea.
Tell them again what you said before, Peppino.
Si, capo, si. I say it again and again. Allora, this victim has nothing to do with us.
Alright. Maybe this line of inquiry isn't going anywhere, but... I'm pretty sure if I told them his profession, that would only make them clam up even more. I can certainly appreciate that just knowing the man had red hair wouldn't help you remember in the situation, but what if I told you that the man in the red hairpiece was actually a detective? The man in the photograph? A detective? Yes. It would appear he found your notice in the paper suspicious and decided to investigate incognito. Sorry, but this changes nothing. Oh, here we go.
Excuse me.
Something to add, Peppino?
Che? Si. I am always adding a something. Parmesan, olive oil, pepper.
What I mean is, did you not agree with your friend's last remark by any chance?
Eh? What did he just say? About the detective?
Yes, that.
Keep your mouth shut, Peppino. You have said enough already. But why, Capo? What is the problem? There was a man who said, I am an inspector from Scotland Yard. What? Good Lord! Order! 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 Explain this bold face in your testimony, witness. It's simple. A man who was at a park said to us that there was no such man. Madai, what are you saying, Capo? Have you forgotten, huh?
I have forgotten nothing. Nobody like this came to the park.
Basta, Capo, basta. You beat me at many things, but not two. The memory and the meals. Like I said, when it is time to eat at a pasta, no one is a faster.
But you are inferior to me in every other way. So shut up.
Oh! Top Todd, the damage is done. Indeed it is, sir.
Oui, there was a man who came to the park and he said he was an inspector from Scotland Yard. However, he looked nothing like the man in the photograph. He was someone else. How can he be sure? Because, to start with, his face was completely different.
See, it's true, it's true. The man who came was a younger.
His face was clean shaven, his eyes were sadder, his chin was thinner.
The resemblance was so evident.
Anyway, I was not going to be fooled. I took the obvious precaution and said to him, if you are really a detective, show us the proof.
See, the capo here doesn't take no nonsense, eh?
But he was well prepared. He said he had identification. Identification? You mean official police inspector's identification?
That is most unconvincing.
Sorry, my lord.
Counsel, no incognito inspector would offer his identification for inspection. It's quite out of the question.
Definitely. Why would he expose his true identity? Clearly the papers were fake.
Soto Capo, you are a genius. As we say in Italia, it takes a thief to recognize another, eh?
And what happened after he announced that he was a detective? He became very annoying. He said, you are under investigation. So I took his papers from him and chased him out of the park.
It was fantastico. And look, here is the identification.
So you stole it from the man?
He had it coming. He made us very scared. But he was not who he said he was. Indeed, the person described does not appear to have behaved as a true inspector would. However, I believe it would be prudent for these identification papers to be entered into evidence.
But I like them. Oh boy.
Now, let us return to the witness's testimony.
Allora, this victim is nothing to do with us. Alright, let's see. What does it say inside, huh? Well, I suppose we should see what this inspector's identification looks like inside. Yes, it definitely looks fake, doesn't it? Out of interest, what name is given? Probably just something plucked out of the air. It's Tobias Gregson. Wait, what? This Scotland Yard insignia looks genuine to me. But how? And the department and identification number details are all correct as well. Since when have you known those? Do you mean to say... I know it seems incredible, but yes. I think this is a genuine identification book issued by Scotland Yard. But that's unbelievable. This is the real thing after all? What could this mean, I wonder? Interesting. Okay.
Hold it!
But we only have your word for that.
See, but what else can we do, huh?
True.
Ofa, we are not having much fun these days. First we are arrested, then we are shown the horrible pictures of a dead man. And now you question every single thing we say. We are the victims here. Aye, capo.
No, you were caught carrying out a plot to swindle hundreds of innocent people.
You had to bring that up, huh? It's not fair. Aye, capo.
You have a lot to answer for, Peppino. It is your fault that we got caught in the first place. What do you mean by that?
Cavolo, your promise not to say, aye, capo.
After we had taken all the money that day, we should have left the country. That was my plan. I left the purchasing of the tickets for the ferry to Dunkirk to my companion here. But he bought them for the wrong day. Oops.
See, but it's an easy mistake to make, huh? The 1st, the 31st.
Both. I have no sympathy for you. We were all day late for the boat because of your stupidity. And it's only because of this that they called the... And it's only because of this that the so-called great red-headed detective caught us.
Capo, you know what I think? This is the work of God. It's a holy punishment, eh?
Peppino, for the last time, this is not only punishment. This is only your fault. Don't blame God for your unholy mistakes.
You are making me sick with anger. Maybe I make a mistake, but when it's time to eat the pasta, no one is a faster.
And I've seen the evidence. They haven't told us much we didn't already know. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, if it wasn't in the inspector's diary, it seems likely that he must have gone to Lime Street that day. And yet, these two both claim they didn't see him. I have to say, they don't appear to be telling lies. Well, they are experts in deception, don't forget. Sounding plausible is their specialty. They may be lying simply to avoid being implicated in this case as well. Surely if they were truly experts in deception, they wouldn't have been caught. Well, yes, you do have a point there. It seems to me like we need more information. Definitely. Alright, I think we have all the information. Oh. There we go. I wonder if I could ask you to examine this identification book very closely. Mr. Strand? Why, Mr. Strand?
What is your attention here, Gazo?
Is this really a fake, or is it genuine? That's the question. Which we can't answer ourselves.
Objection!
Don't be ridiculous. No Scotland Yard detective would allow his or her identification to be stolen.
Oh, dang. That... That is the boss's, no question about it.
It can't be. As I suspected. The undercover detective who attended the Red-Headed League's enrollment on that day in question was the real Inspector Gregson, carrying out an incognito investigation.
Order! Order!
But if the boss had his identification stolen, he would have reported it straight away. I mean, he was always on me. He was always on. He was always on about me about it. I mean, he was always on at me about it. If you lose something, report at once, he'd say.
Could it be then that the inspector was physically unable to report it?
Physically, eh? What are you saying?
Unable to? You're not suggesting... Yes, it's quite possible that he was killed before he had the chance to report his identification stolen.
No! Order! Order! Order!
The defense posits that the victim was killed the day before his body was discovered at a different location. Do you two have anything to say about that?
I know nothing. I done nothing.
Pull yourself together, Papino. Mon Dieu, you can behave a little more like a master criminal than that, non?
Now I wish I had returned to Italia.
Stop crying, Peppino, please. Otherwise, Lame, what? Lame, stop your warning and start talking.
Well, I believe the court would need to hear your story and consider it. I know nothing. I done nothing.
But you will tell everything, or face the worst possible outcome.
You will dry your eyes and testify again about these identification papers and the precise circumstances under which you came by them.
For crying out loud. The truth is, we took him prisoner and kept him for the night at our secret hideout. Even though I didn't think he was a real detective, I was too scared to let him go that day, just in case.
We took the man the identification from him and shot him in the room next to us.
There might have been a little tussle, but we did him no harm, and the next morning we let him go.
He spent the night in a nice room. It wasn't nothing like a prison, really. This is outrageous. You imprisoned the man? But no, see, no, it was not like a prison. He was very comfortable and calm and happy. Aye, capo?
It was never part of my plan, I swear it.
Ufa, so you think it was my fault, eh? Just because I got the date of the very wrong by one little a day.
I do not think it was your fault, Peppino. I know it.
No. Por favor, capo. It is not fair. You shall have plenty of time for squabbling back at the prison, gentlemen.
Oh, I don't believe this. How could he have been a real detective?
Counsel for the defense, proceed with the cross-examination.
So on the day before the incident, Gregson spent the night confined in this pair's hideout.